2. I missed it. All right, so we're live now.
We are live.
We're
Let's
broadcasting.
Hello, everybody.
refresh.
Hello.
How goes it? I thought I'd do some product placement tonight. Yeah.
What?
Let's see my schnikey right here.
Is it shameless product promotion?
Hey, well, who was Jamie yesterday? I saw he was.
Oh, yeah, he was-
technologies last night.
Like advertising my business
that's
like
right.
crazy last night.
And the night before, I didn't even bring up that shirt the night before. What's the tech shop there that does all the gear for the games?
Well, it depends. There's 3, I think, major
Oh.
ones. Red Raider Outfitters, the
There you go, that one.
Matador,
That one.
Red Raider
So
Outfitters.
yeah, I had a friend who used to work there. She used to do arts. She designed like I don't even know how many of the shirts there for a good
really?
chunk of years. Yeah. So that shirt I was wearing with the Recom Tech and it had the Guitar Hero font on it.
Okay.
When I was still
it on
living in
hers?
Lubbock, she made that font. Like she had to create it because she couldn't go out and find it anywhere. So she hand drew Guitar Hero font for the Texas Tech Red Raider outfit or whatever thing.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was. And so she gave me that shirt because Keith and I were playing Guitar Hero a lot and we introduced them to it and she was like, yeah, and I was like, what? So it was pretty
That's
fun.
pretty cool.
Yeah, that was a tight shirt.
Hero.
So she doesn't do that anymore, I guess?
She lives in Dallas, I think. And I forgot her name. I don't know. Anyway. I think she lives in Dallas, and I think she's like head of some sort of graphic design department or something. If I remember,
She's impressive.
she really is. Gosh, I wish I could remember her name.
That's
Andrew
great,
was her
Amy.
husband's
Way
name.
to bring her up and not even plug her.
I know.
The
Now I
one
feel
girl that
horrible,
designed
guys.
fonts.
Oh, Christy Hatter.
Uh-huh.
Christy, I'm sorry. So if you get to watch this or whatever, you should tell me where you work so I can plug you properly and make sure that people know where you're at. Okay, because she's awesome. She's awesome. So anyhow,
Jamie going today with the fashionable white T-shirt.
oh yeah, this is my work at home attire today. I had to take a shower this morning. It was like 4 days. I was like, woo!
Oh, stop it.
Way too much information there.
Well, I'm glad the gentleman that we have can help you with that.
Exactly.
He is. Speaking of which, so everyone, we have a guest tonight who we hope that you enjoy. So let me just bring him in first, and then we'll explain everything else.
Yeah, that'll be good. He's sitting in the green room. Hey, Ben.
Hey, Ben.
Hey, everybody. How you doing?
Doing excellent. Thanks for joining us tonight.
I'm doing well, and thank you. Can you guys hear me okay?
Sound good.
All right.
Yeah.
So as I was telling everyone,
I like it.
I was like, so last night we had a guest on the show, and as one of our traditions here, Ben, is we ask our guests for the current show to give us the theme for tomorrow's show. So just FYI, at the end, we're going to be asking you the same thing.
Really? Okay.
Yes.
It's the theme. Like, is it a trivia question
It's
or like
anything you choose? We do our best to fulfill.
That's not
it.
heavy.
Okay. I already know what I'm going to go with, but I'll.
Okay, good. So
We may or may not use it, but we will try to use it as much as possible.
And so last night, our guest told us. Our guest was Jillian Lyle.
Mm-hmm.
Jillian Lyle.
TikTok pro.
A TikTok. What did she say?
A TikTok. Oh, what was it? It was TikTok.
Starts with an F, right?
Enthusiast.
TikTok. I don't know.
Performer. Not star. TikTok performer. Anyway, Jillian, tell us what the technical word was that's going around in TikTok world or whatever.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
I don't either. But anyhow, she's gotten like hundreds of thousands of views on her TikTok videos and stuff.
Wow.
Like, whoa. So, but at the end, we asked her, what's the theme? And so we kind of put her on the spot. And so she said roses and sunflowers.
Okay.
So this is going somewhere.
All right. Well,
half of it anyway. So.
Well, we know sunflower is a great song. So let's just check that off right there.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I mean.
Oh, TikTok famous. There it is. Rain just told us. TikTok famous.
Oh, thanks, Rain. That's what it is.
Okay,
TikTok
so
famous.
we'll make sure she does a TikTok famous on sunflower. How's that?
Right,
Yes.
right. Yeah, that'll be cool.
All right.
So, as soon as she said that, though, Ben, I thought, I got an idea, guys. So wait until the show was done.
The rest of us were just kind of like,
Yeah. I was praying. I was like, God, please make Ben available. Please make Ben available.
Well,
and so I told them about you, and it was like, oh, this guy, guys. I was like, you know, the one I was talking about, the Cologne guy, and they're like, yeah, and I was like, I think we should ask him to be on the show.
Yeah.
And they were behind it. You guys were behind it. You thought it was a pretty good idea too, and so
well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah. So I want to kind of tee it up, but one of the reasons why I thought about you, Ben, was because I did see one of your most recent YouTube videos. So for those of you viewing right now, I'll let Ben talk about it here in a second, but Ben is actually a YouTuber here in the town that I live at currently in Illinois. Bloomington Normal is where we live. But Ben is running a YouTube video, which I'll let him talk about a little bit, but I watched one of his episodes where he was actually talking about a perfume that smelled like roses.
Okay.
That's how the connection was made.
And that was the connection.
Yes.
Now,
so I was like,
was this a recent one or has it been a while?
No, I thought it was one of your recent ones. Because
okay, I've got two of them. I just wanted to make sure.
Okay, so I don't want to ruin what I want to give you the platform to say, but it was on your new format area that you're going into.
Sure.
It'll make sense in a minute. I'll let him explain. But and that's why I was like,
he's trying to be as vague as possible and precise at the same time.
Well, I thought it was so interesting, Ben, you know, what you do normally. And then so when you kind of went in this different direction, I was like, what? I was like, I'm interested. And so I was like, I listened to it, and that roses line stuck out to me. And so it was an easy connection.
So here's what he's referring to. If you, I normally review men's fragrances, right? And one of my subscribers, she said, well, why don't you give your take on some women's perfumes? And so, you know, I've done, you know, every episode I've ever done actually is about a man's perfume or unisex. And I decided to take her up on that. And so I've been walking around during the quarantine wearing women's perfume. And I actually really enjoy it. I'm a huge fan of this company called Amouage, and they are incredibly expensive. They smell fantastic, but they're between $330 to $450 a bottle. Yeah, they're really
How much
expensive.
is in a bottle?
100 milliliters, 3.4 ounce. Yep. So they are really so exactly. I'm in education. So I'll just tell you, this is what I can afford right here.
The samples.
these little tiny bottles.
Okay.
That's all.
I thought it was the scratch and sniff one. From
Exactly.
The catalog.
Yeah, that's basically where I'm at, is the scratch and sniff level. And so I got the sampler set for on the women's side, and I've been reviewing women's fragrances for the last 2 weeks now. And I think that one of them, that's why I asked, because the last episode was called Blossom Love, and that one is a rose-based fragrance, which is just a fantastic one. But it is a women's perfume. I really enjoyed reviewing that one. And then I also, it's been a while, but which is why I asked Jaime, but I also reviewed a men's cologne, which is one of my favorite actually, with a rose note, and that is called Lyric Man, also by Amouage. And you know, it's ridiculously expensive, of course, but I probably won't, you know.
When you say ridiculously expensive, like you said a ridiculously expensive amount just a second ago.
Yeah.
Is it still in that ballpark, or
if you buy direct from Amouage, it's about $330. Yeah. So I think the cheapest you probably find it is about $200, maybe $180 at the cheapest. They last all day. They're really nice. They're really well done. They're from a country, Oman, and they mix. So what's interesting about Arabic fragrances is that the Arabic fragrances, they really enjoy the combination of carnation, oud, and rose. And oud is a very smoky wood, and they like to mix it with a rose, which is, you know, typically more of a feminine note. You would expect it to be more in a perfume than a cologne, but it really works out well if you like it. I love Lyric Man, and on the guy's side and on the women's side, Blossom Love was a lot of fun to review.
Oh, wow.
So do me a favor and tell me, how do I spell the cologne company you were just talking about, the Amouage?
Yeah, so it is AMOUAGE. And I don't
I'm
know.
only asking because I want to put it in the comments section.
There it is, right there. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Except they didn't pay us, so
Yeah. No, I am definitely not. I am definitely not sponsored.
Right,
So that's kind of my claim to fame is that I buy all my fragrances. You know, a lot of the fragrance reviews guys get them sent by the companies, right? And let's be honest, if you guys got a $300 bottle of cologne for free, it might change your review, right? So,
right.
yeah, I live in the real world, so I deal.
I would probably still be to be honest.
No, I'd be a softie, and I admit that. So it's better that I just review the samples.
So Ben, how did you get started reviewing?
So 4 years ago, almost to the day, actually, my daughter wanted to start a channel. And so we started with her channel, and her channel is called Natalia V. V is in Valentine. And so she started her channel, and she does about one episode a month. And the idea was that we would both do episodes together, right? And she's quite natural in her delivery. I mean, I hardly have to do any editing at all. And so I kind of dragged my feet for a while, and I just edited her stuff. Yeah, yeah. And then after a while, I decided to finally take the plunge, and I did my first review, and I really enjoyed it. I've always been into fragrances. I love fragrances. Yeah, always have. And so I really wanted to do that, and I started reviewing just my own collection, and I took it from there. About 2 years ago is when I started to do regular episodes, so they come out every Friday.
Okay.
So you've been 2 years of episodes on YouTube?
It's been 2 years for me, and I thoroughly enjoy it, and it's a lot of fun. And I know the do's and don'ts, and they say keep it to 4 to 5 minutes, and I just do what I do. I just enjoy, you know what I mean? Just enjoy kind of the spontaneous back and forth with the subscribers and the commenters, and it's been a lot of fun.
Awesome. So what is the process that you go through of reviewing a smell, basically a scent?
Yeah. So what I'll do is I'll usually wear if it's one of my collection that I had for a long time, of course I don't need to, but I will usually wear the fragrance that week at least once that time, and if not more. So if I'm not real familiar with it, then I'll wear it all week. And then so with YouTube videos, what's nice is you can schedule a release time. And so, sometimes I'll film on a Wednesday, sometimes I'll film on a Thursday, sometimes it's actually Friday, and I try to get it out Friday afternoon. Right. So whenever I get a moment to film, I do, but I have worn it, for at least one day, if not more, especially if it's not normally in my collection. And then after that, I'll have a note pattern where, I'll talk about how long it lasts, and the scent cloud around you, the event, the season, the age group, and I'll just kind of go through and talk about the different categories, for people who might be interested in it. And then I rate it. So the thing that makes my channel different from others is that what I do is I rate every cologne or perfume out of 5 sprays, and then whatever that is, I actually spray it on me and wear it the rest of the day. So,
oh wow!
If I really like one, I'll give it a 5 out of 5. Then I spray it on me 5 times, and that's how I end the episode.
So like one that you don't like, that's like one spray, and you're like, I don't know
if it's a 1 or 2 spray, then that means it's a one and done. Right. Yeah. I'm not going to get it, especially with, if somebody sends me a sample or something, I wouldn't keep it in my collection. A 3 means I might, depending. And then 4 or 5 means I'm going to keep it in my rotation.
Oh, okay. That's awesome.
So what I like about Ben's videos is whenever he does his sprays, I don't know if it's all your videos, Ben, but the ones that I've seen, I've heard the little boom that comes on whenever he sprays. So he'll go like that, and then all of a sudden you hear this loud boom in the video.
And what's funny is that the audio, now that's going to be different now because I've got this microphone, but in some of my episodes, the audio is way too low, and then my special effects are way too high. So every once in a while I'll get a message like, you scared the crap out of me. I hope you know that.
I think I did that the other night. point.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
So I was using your video to kind of help me wind down, and then all of a sudden,
Yeah.
I was all stressed again.
And then bam. I inadvertently wake people up. I don't know if I meant to do that, but that's all right.
Right.
So how does your being a family man, like how is it walking around? How did they perceive you walking around with all these different colognes every week and perfumes now, right?
Correct. They don't know any different because ever since I was about 11 or 12, I don't think I've probably missed maybe 4 or 5 days in my entire since then that I haven't. Yeah, so I've always been
So we don't know your true scent.
Uh,
I I don't know my true scent.
I feel like this is a setup for a commercial. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
Boomerang, like he's about to say, my real sin is amouage.
Yeah. Actually, Joe, my real scent is amouage.
That was great. Amouage, if you're not watching him now, please keep your eye on him.
Yeah, come on, sponsor me.
Right?
Come on.
What's it take?
Yeah, no kidding. It'll be this video that does it. Okay,
Right,
so
that'd be awesome.
I certainly hope so. I've reviewed so many of their fragrances. They owe me something. Come on.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, they do.
I mean,
that's
what's
awesome.
crazy-
So
Go ahead, JB.
that's okay. Go you first, because I'm gonna
All right.
remember mine.
So what's crazy is that guys are mostly known for not having a good sense of smell, and
Right.
I would be included in that group because my wife tells me all the time, "It's like you don't smell that." I'm like, "No, I don't know what you're talking about." So, when did you find out that you had a more acute smell, and how did that process come along? And you were like, "Oh, I can really tell the difference between these," because I'm just like, that one smells clean, this one doesn't.
sure.
Yeah.
Well, two things I'll say to that. Number one was, I immediately, as I said, once I hit middle school, I immediately gravitated towards it started off as just wanting to smell good and just enjoying, the kind of the colognes that were.
School.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely, and I really enjoyed those. And then it went on from there to actual into notes. And so one of the things that I do in my channel is I really enjoy learning along with everyone else some of the specific notes that are in a cologne, because sometimes I don't know necessarily them myself. I'm able to pull out like 3, 4, 5 specific notes now, but you'd be very surprised when you see the comments. Yeah, no, but it's incredible how many people can really parse a perfume or cologne into 15 to 20 notes. I certainly can't do that. Yeah, so I just do my best, and I try to pick out
do 4 or 5. I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't know that I can do any.
really well.
Like I said, I was like, it's clean or it's not clean.
Yeah, it's either offensive or it's okay.
Right. It's sock or dog. That's me.
Yeah,
No.
but you know what I thought you were going to say. I thought you were going to say too, with guys sometimes when they, because of the whole thing you're saying about not being able to smell or decipher between is different scents, is a lot of times they'll clear out a room, right? And so they will over spray.
Right.
And so I would say the one thing you'd want to take away from this, besides it's always nice to know specific notes, but number one, go with what you like.
Mhm.
End of story. And then number 2, do not overspray.
So more than 5 would be overspraying.
Depends on depends on what it is.
Okay.
Some of the companies now will come out with some. One of the things about reviews that is so advantageous is that if a company comes out with a cologne that has longevity for 2 to 3 hours, and you almost have to bathe in it, then I think people need to know that, because
Right.
most of us are on a restricted budget. Yeah, and if you have a company that's putting out like, take a look at something like Nautica Voyage. Nautica Voyage is you can get it at TJ Maxx for $18-20, and it will last you an entire work shift. I think that's great to know,
wow.
as opposed to something that you could spray. I've had some that people have sent me, and I'll spray them, and just after hour and a half, 2 hours, it's completely gone.
Oh,
That's cool.
So
So I want to. Sorry.
Go ahead.
Ben, I gotta admit, you're very interesting because this is such a neat topic and stuff.
Should we, we should have it like Zoom where Sandy's hand comes up.
Yes, I know.
No, I asked the last question, so it's Sandy's turn. My bad.
Okay, Sandy, go ahead.
Well, now I forgot.
Shoot.
Go for it, Jamie.
Okay. What I was gonna say, Ben, is
Okay, so I remember. So like the smell really does go away, or you just stop smelling it at some point. Because I feel like somebody can keep smelling it, but I'm like, well, I don't smell it anymore.
Absolutely. So there are two things going on. One is that the scent truly does disappear on your skin after so much time. Especially, so some people do not spray on their clothes, and so once their skin eats up the fragrance, it is absolutely possible that it is completely gone. Especially if you're wearing an EDT, which is an eau de toilette, right? So that they might last anywhere from like 2 to 6 hours. Now there is a thing called olfactory fatigue, where that means I think that's what you're alluding to, which is the person themselves has actually gotten used to their cologne or perfume, and they don't smell it anymore, right. But everyone else certainly does.
And you know what? It's not even cologne or perfume, because my job sometimes it stinks, and I'm like, do y'all not smell that? And they're like, smell what? And I'm like, oh God.
Yeah.
Been here too long.
Yeah, you guys have just gotten used to that smell, right?
Oh my goodness.
That happens for somebody who wears the same fragrance every day.
Oh, okay. Wow.
How many fragrances do you have? Just curious.
On my end, I have about 25. And, as I said, it's a little different scenario, because if you look at the cologne reviewers and the perfume reviewers, once they get big, they get sponsored, right? So these, and I don't even mean samples. I mean, these companies actually send them full on bottles. And so they have this huge collection. Of course, I would like it to be bigger, but, I mean, I get them when I can afford them. Yeah.
I have
so.
two.
Yeah,
you have
zero. Okay, so you have like daytime, nighttime, informal, formal, or how does it?
Yeah, kind of. Basically, it depends.
Like this one has more than this one.
It's like, I wanted to try this.
You know what? On that, this is what I wanted to say earlier. Was not really say, but I want to ask our viewers, what are the colognes that you guys are wearing, or what are the colognes that you like? Your significant other wearing. Hit that in the comments, because I kind of want to see what your opinion or thoughts are on some of them that show up, if any show up on here. But
Sure. No, and a big issue is with reviewers too is the notion of whether or not you're going to look at only designer or only niche. So designer fragrances are the ones that you usually see in department stores, right? They're usually $100 or less for a 3.4 ounce, 100 milliliter normal bottle, and so those again, they're made by companies that do other things. Right. And so they're also in the fragrance or perfume business, whereas the niche companies are going to be a lot more expensive, but that's kind of what they do, so they almost only work in perfume and cologne. And so they're going to be more expensive. They're going to be, in theory, last longer, more nuanced. And so there's kind of a division in the fragrance community, right? Of those people who like the designer kind of crowd friendly type versus the kind of nuanced, artsy fartsy niche, expensive type. And I try to review a little bit of both. I was gonna say, somebody tells me Joe probably has two really expensive niches.
Well, when you were talking, it made me think, Joe, is like, that's kind of like the difference between going to JCPenney to get your pictures taken or hiring you to do their pictures, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you'd be the niche guy, right?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, that's exactly right. No, I think so too.
Ben, okay, so diagnose me, because I can't wear perfumes because I get headaches. So I have to wear like a mist. Is that normal? Is that common? What types can I go to maybe wear a perfume? The $300 homage.
It is. I think.
Where's that product placement thing?
Yeah. Say it again. Ready? Here we go.
Homage.
That is quite common, actually, and so you can do a few things. Number one, I would recommend staying away from the EDPs, and those are the eau de parfum, right? And so those are longer. So it looks like eau de, and then looks like perfume, only it's in French. Yeah, those are much longer lasting and much more potent fragrances. So you'd want to stay closer to an EDT, which is the majority of things you see in department stores, because they're going to have less of the fragrance, the concentration levels lower. The other thing you can do too is if you wanted to, you could stay away from your skin and just spray on your clothes.
Okay.
That a lot of people like that, especially if they are allergic or get headaches, or not. In other words, either spray on your clothes, but if it lasts too long and it gives you a headache, then do the opposite and see what works for you. And then the third thing is, a lot of people don't know, what you always want to do is you want your fragrance to speak for itself. So you want to have a fragrance-free deodorant if you can, and then what you want to do is put fragrance-free body lotion on, and then put the fragrance over that. And that will help a lot because it will last longer and it won't be as toxic to you.
Oh, okay.
That is
well. Thank you for that, because
freaking,
it's so crazy because I've always wanted to wear it, but I just have to go with like a mist because it's so much lighter than.
Where do you put it on your pulse points, or do you put it on your clothes?
I'll show you. That's kind of how I do.
How about try one on each side of the neck and one on each wrist and see how that does.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Try. See, if you notice what you did was you made a motion that was all near your head, and
I'm not standing up because I would have done that too.
Sure.
That's just with the mist.
Definitely go for the pulse points then. So two, one on each side of the neck, one on each wrist, and try that.
Okay.
Dude, that is freaking awesome.
That's so awesome, right?
See, here's the thing about cologne and perfume and just fragrance in general is people naturally enjoy this. It's just so much fun, and so I was super excited that you guys invited me on.
I will walk away tonight being like, I just learned a lot of new stuff I had no idea on.
Really.
That's going to be so cool.
So what's your review on Hugo Boss?
Oh, so Hugo Boss is, of course,
listening, Eric.
Hugo Boss is an exceptional fragrance. So I have not actually done an official review on it, but I can tell you it's the #1 selling fragrance in Germany for a reason. Hugo Boss is really a no-lose situation. So one thing about the niche folks, right? The folks that really get into the nuanced notes of these fragrances will kind of put down designer fragrances, crowd pleasers. And I think that's unfortunate, actually, because who wouldn't want to smell nice, right?
Right.
Hugo Boss is a perfect example of a scent that will be pleasing to those around you, but it's also for the person who doesn't really, Joe was saying he has 2 bottles. If you're not really into like different seasons and, formal wear versus jeans versus, a summer barbecue versus winter, I mean, then Hugo Boss is perfect because it's designed for the person who's looking to smell really nice at any given time.
That is interesting.
So Hugo Boss is the typical like Father's Day gift, right? Because no one would really dislike Hugo Boss. They might not, have it as their signature scent, but I absolutely love it. It has an apple fresh scent to it, and it's quite nice.
See, that's like that apple fresh. That doesn't.
I think the only smell I could do would be strawberry. Honestly, guys, strawberry would be the only smell I think I could really.
If that's too technical, just think we call them the 90s freshies. It's all about the 1990s, where it was all this kind of fresh deodorant, detergent like.
The clean.
And it's very like clean smelling. Fresh.
That's exactly right. That's
I would not have ever said apple, but
all the fellas and even the women listening, absolutely after the show or after you watch this, please go friend Ben, and then before you buy anything for yourself to smell, just look to see if Ben has reviewed it or get his opinion on it. And I mean, he's legit gonna help you out. Like I'm gonna be like, Ben, the cologne guy on my phone now. I'm gonna be like, okay, I'm gonna just see what's going on here.
Usually I do one fragrance in each review, right? And but for the holidays, I did a few episodes on like top 20 gifts to buy.
I saw that.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that. I might have to break those out again because I like doing the individual reviews, but it's also fun to mull over like the best fragrances of spring now that it's coming up, and in theory at least, and so it's a lot of fun.
Nice.
Okay, one more question. So
Sure.
my mom's getting older, and so she's always had like these, don't want to use this word, like the older smelling lady colognes.
Correct.
And so she kills me sometimes because I'm like, Mom, that's, and so anyway, so are they all kind of made the same way?
So here
for that age group.
Well, that's why we were having fun with this earlier. One thing, you don't see a ton of guys wearing women's fragrance. See, most of this is marketing, though, right? Mm-hmm. A lot of fragrances now are unisex because what's to say if something is masculine or feminine? The one problem though with the perfumes that are marketed to women is that they tend to be florals. And so so you will, when you talk to women, a lot of them will say, a very high percentage of women will say that they wear men's cologne actually. And one reason is because there's more variety. And so, one problem that women's perfume has is that it gets kind of housed under like how explosively floral can we be?
I agree. Yes.
Yeah, and so something that's nice and toned down is always good. So unfortunately, so if you want recommendations, I can give them, but I'm not surprised. It's unfortunate, isn't it? Because with so many different, each one of us has our own personality, and so why so many florals? It's unfortunate.
Yeah.
So
she likes that diamonds or something.
Yeah, then it ends up smelling kind of grandpa/grandpa-ish. Yeah.
Like
no, exactly.
Old Spice.
Yep.
That's what our old smell's going to be, or yours, Joe. Yours is going to be Old Spice.
I actually have to tell you, in all my years, I usually am able to finish out a bottle, even if I have a 1 or 2 spray rating out of 5. I'm usually able to just bite the bullet and finish it out. And there was one fragrance called Tsar, Tsar, and it really, really smelled like old manish.
Did it?
Really. And so after about 5 or 6, I had to get rid of it. Yeah, I couldn't do it. So
did your family make a comment on it? Did they say you smelled old?
Actually, they did, and it was a uniform thumbs down on that one. So that one did not.
Stay away from Star.
I'm sorry to say, stay very far away from it. Yep, it did not work.
So I have a great story about my wife went cologne shopping for me. So I love the scent. It's called Sauvage.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Well, she went to go look for it, and she was like, "Do y'all have that Savage cologne?" They were like, "Oh, do you mean Sauvage?" Oh yeah.
I almost like Savage better, right? It sounds so Christian Dior's Sauvage or Savage, either one,
right?
Christian Dior,
is an example of. I think right now it was 2019. It was either number 1 or number 2 as far as bestseller.
All right,
that's
I love the scent. So
sure,
I'm out of it right now. I don't even know what my 2 that I have. One is Adidas Sport though.
Right.
Oh, that's a good. So, okay, wait. So if you're out of it right now, Joe, Ben, what would be something you would suggest to? Well, never mind. Yeah, what would be something you'd suggest to Joe?
But because you're saying because he is out of Sauvage?
Yeah.
Based on his Sauvage preference and his Adidas, what would you recommend?
And the little that you've interacted with him so far, do you have a recommendation you would give to Joe?
I do.
If you pull out that white card, it would be like.
Well, here's the thing. Do you like? It depends on what kind you like. Do you like fruity or do you like ultra fresh?
No, it's more clean. So my wife usually picks my cologne for me, and she likes the clean scents. So,
one possibility would be the Hugo Boss that we mentioned earlier. That is a really
legit, the green bottle.
Yeah, it's very nice. I mean, it's a nice fragrance, and like I said, I differ from a lot of folks in Fragcom, as they call themselves.
What was that again? Say that again.
Fragcom, for fragrance community.
Fragcom.
Yeah, out in Fragcom. And in the sense that I don't mind that something is a crowd pleaser. So now I'm gonna give you another recommendation. But I mean, and I don't know if Jaime saw it, but I'm incredibly biased because it's my favorite one. It's not a new one though, but Aqua di Gio is another one that is number one in the U.S. for about the last 43,000 years. And it's so it's Aqua di, and so Gio, and it's Gio with a little accent over the O.
Yeah, okay. In fact, if you go to his YouTube channel, which I just put up right there, so if you go to his YouTube channel, his banner is actually that Aqua di Gio, if I said that right.
Yeah.
So it's a Giorgio Armani.
Yeah, it's an Armani. I mean, it's one of those ones that I mean, it's a bestseller, so a lot of people don't wear it because they say, well, I don't want to, smell like a lot of people. But sorry, I mean, if you're looking for a really nice smelling, fresh fragrance, you will find no better. But again, I am biased. So
who is the main company that does it?
Armani.
Armani. Okay.
Yep, that's an Armani. And then you guys talked about it earlier, but yeah, I mean, the one right now that's really big as far as giving gifts is Sauvage, no doubt. It's a well done fragrance. I like it. Yeah, I mean it's well done. So it's a bestseller for a reason.
She's probably gonna hit me as soon as I go.
She totally is. After the show's over tomorrow, guys, you're gonna see Joe with like black eye, Band-Aids up here, and his Sauvage. He'll be wearing Sauvage all over.
I was gonna say, yeah, either that, or he's gonna walk into a room and he's just like he's gonna bowl you over smelling so well.
Right. Oh, there you go. Be like, we can smell you over here, Joe. Why don't you stay in your square? Okay.
Yeah. Oh, well, actually, right now he probably won't be in the same room as you now that we're all in, shelter and all that. But you get my point.
So Ben, I got to know: was there ever a time when you were like, because there's this funny meme where the boyfriend and girlfriend are walking with each other, and he turns around and he's looking at the other girl, right?
Yeah, and she gives that look like.
Yeah, the red dress and everything. But has there ever been a time where you walked down the street at a restaurant, in class or anything like that, and you walk in and you're like, whoa, wait a minute, what's that? Someone's got something new or interesting on, and your nose starts taking you wherever that is?
Actually, there is. It's funny because one of them was a woman, and I was at a sports bar watching the Bears game.
Hold on, Rosie, if you're watching, you got to stop right now. Okay?
No, she knows about.
Oh, okay.
This is like a classic example of how everything. I don't know if you guys like Curb Your Enthusiasm, but if you like Larry David, right, of how how everything can go wrong. It was funny because I went up to her. I was totally naive because I was just watching the game, and she walked by and smelled fantastic, and I was like, "Excuse me, I was just wondering what perfume we're wearing because I really like it," and I truly meant it, and she totally thought I was hitting on her. Yeah. And it was really just this incredibly awkward moment.
You need to have cards. I'm the perfume guy on YouTube.
I would have now. This has been a while, and ended up being, but I did write it down. I did get it, and I'm so glad I did, because on the women's side, it is one of my favorite. In fact, if not my favorite, is Chanel Chance was what she was wearing. Just a really, really nice perfume. But
so you went to go ask her that? And
yeah. Here I am, like, between commercials, intensely watching this football game, and I was like, oh, excuse me, but so naively, right? I was like, oh, excuse me, what perfume are you wearing? And she said, oh, thank you for asking.
What, bro? I wouldn't have never thought anything either, because if it was something similar for me, I could totally see myself asking something like that. I'm like, man, you should rock that. That's a great perfume or cologne.
No, but then there was another one too that was worse, actually, because I went to. And I was hanging out. Yeah, it was here in town. And I was waiting for my family to finish shopping, and I was just there. And the server came over a couple times, and he also smelled really well. And I did the same thing, and I was like, "Excuse me, I just want to write down. That's a really nice cologne. What is that?" And he also thought the same thing. And I was like, "Can't anyone just ask? Come on."
No, thank you.
Yeah. So he told me, and that one was, by the way, was Dolce Gabbana the One. If you now, you guys said you prefer more on the fresh side, but if you're looking for something is like to go out with, an evening scent, that one is just off the charts. That's an amazing fragrance.
What is it called again?
Dolce Gabbana the One.
The One.
And and
Matrix. Neo.
that one is a really, really nice one. So those are my two stories of what not to do, I guess.
We got a viewer who's asking a question, Ben. I don't want to ignore her too, So
Sure.
she said this comes from Marlinda Smith Clark. Hi,
Okay.
Marlinda. Thanks for joining.
Thanks for joining us.
She says, I don't know if this was asked earlier, but I have heard that a person's chemistry will help determine how a fragrance smells when it has been applied to the skin. Is that true?
So this is another issue that's that has to do with a lot with the notion of designer versus niche. So the crowd pleasing companies are going to put out things that will not or interact a lot less with your skin. So if you think of something like, for example, Sauvage, if you think of just anything that you know that's a bestseller, it's going to smell about the same from hour 1 to hour 8, and it's going to smell the same on everybody, right?
Okay.
It's going to interact with the person's chemistry a lot less than it would with a niche. And so people, again, you either like that or you don't. If you like the fragrance and you love how it smells, you actually like that it doesn't interact with your own body's chemistry that much, because you just want to smell good.
So you're saying, like, if Joe and Sandy put on Sauvage, I should be able to go to Sandy's and then Joe's house, and I could smell Sauvage the same from both of them.
Zero doubt. Once you get used to a certain smell on the designer side, as soon as you smell as in anywhere, you're going to immediately recognize what it is. And so again, that can be good or bad for you, right? A lot of the folks that really get into this as a true hobby, they like the more the niche side, because it will interact. It's a great question, actually, because it will interact with your skin and your body's chemistry. Again, and if you don't have headaches, one thing you'd want a lot of people don't put fragrance-free body lotion on their skin first, so that way it just interacts with the skin. Kind of a faux pas for a lot of people is to put fragrance on clothes. You're really supposed to put it on your skin, so that way it interacts with your body's chemistry. So, fantastic question.
Nice. Thank you for that question, Melinda.
Yeah. So wait a minute. Now my head. I heard you say it earlier, but it just kind of. People should put unfragranced body lotion on before they put on their colognes and perfumes.
Yeah, especially the designer ones, right? Because here's what these companies do: they will put out a fragrance, and let's say it just smells really, really nice. And what they'll do is they'll kind of water it down a little bit over time, and then they'll put out what's called a flanker. So, for example, let's say there's something like let's go back to our example of Sauvage. What Sauvage might do in 2 or 3 years is put out Sauvage Sport, and then Sauvage Intense, right? And then Sauvage Noir, and et cetera, et cetera. And so those are called flankers. And then and that's what they're working with, right? Is this notion of it'll get watered down, and it gets reformulated, and as it gets reformulated, it won't last as long. And so what you can do as a little trick is to put fragrant-free body lotion first, and then spray your fragrance over that, and that way it'll gain you another 2 to 4 hours.
What?
Interesting.
Yeah. And so
So you're really getting your $350 worth with that.
I mean, come on. If you're gonna, I think Jaime might have saw the one, but I reviewed one Amouage a while back that had, didn't have great longevity to it, and I was thinking, for $350, you better last a long time.
You better last a month.
That's exactly right. Yep.
Last like a couple showers. Seriously.
No doubt.
I'd be upset. I'd be highly upset.
Yeah,
Right?
no, and that's why I do these reviews, right? Of course, I enjoy them, but people need to know. how long these things are going to last and how big the scent cloud will be, and et cetera, because, we can't all just buy lots and lots of bottles of expensive perfume. So, and not everyone, like I said, money, the price point will not dictate how long it lasts. If you look at Nautica Voyage, that's a great cheapie for, a $20 bill that lasts a long time. It's fantastic actually for the spring and summer. Whereas, you can get something for $150, $200 that's gone in 2 hours. So you don't want to do too much blind buying. You want to check out reviews.
Wow.
Well, I'm so glad that you're out there. I never would have guessed that somebody was reviewing on YouTube. That is so cool.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah. You should see these guys. And then every once in a while they'll show their collection, and it's just, it's like a whole room. They really get into it.
That makes me think. So, you have some guys like Joe who does photography. You got some people like Sandy who do running, some people who like to cook, and then people who like to collect shoes. But then here's Ben, and I'm sure he's just got like colognes at the wazoo everywhere,
I'm getting up there, I have to say. People are so nice. I mean, I had one of my subscribers every once in a while just out of the blue will send me this huge box of samples, and I'll go through them and sample those. He's just really nice. People are so nice, and it's just a lot of fun.
That is awesome.
So cool.
That is amazing.
What's the best gift that you've received from one of your viewers? What are the best smelling that you would say?
The best smelling one?
Yeah.
Or
that you went and bought for yourself to add to your collection.
So the one I would say was I traded fragrances with a guy, and so one of the big site that people should always go to is Fragrantica. Fragrantica.com is the big site. You can check out perfumes, colognes. They rate them. I mean, they do everything. You can know everything about it. The parfumé. You name it. It's a lot of fun. It's kind of, they have discussion boards, and I met him there, and we traded fragrances. I traded him one I didn't care for, and he did the same. And we ended up really, really liking each other's, right? And that one was called Encre Noire, which means black ink in French. And I positively love that fragrance, and he could not detest it more. So it just goes,
Really?
yeah, I really, really like that one, especially for the winter. But he didn't like it, so we traded, and that would be my answer. Encre Noire is a fantastic winter fragrance.
That's so funny. He says that one for winter.
I know.
Never even would separate.
Like you have your seasonal cologne.
Yeah, and some people are really, really, big into that. I mean, I am a little bit as far as the seasons, but so just a quick answer for you, Joe, would be oftentimes, not every time, but oftentimes companies will color code by season. So like the black bottles tend to be winter and fall. Tend to, right? And then the blue bottles, the light blue, tend to be summer. Greens tend to be spring. That doesn't always hold, but I just mean if you see an opaque black bottle, it's probably a winter fragrance.
Interesting.
So my mind is just blown right now.
I know, right?
Yeah,
it is so much fun.
Let him go, but
See what I mean?
I'm just learning.
Right.
Okay. Do y'all remember y'all's first fragrance ever? Joe, Jamie, do y'all remember?
Yes. Well, I'll say my first serious one.
I don't know why, but I remember my very first one, and it was Walmart. It was a Jovan Musk, and to this day, it still is a store, and I'll get it, and I'll just smell it just to remember.
Your nostalgia, huh?
Yeah, just to remember what 6th grade smelled like.
Right. Yep.
Mine was Drakkar Noir.
Oh man, I mean, God, you know what? Drakkar Noir. I'm sorry. It is a fantastic cologne. I don't care.
Is it really? That's
man, it's so. The thing is, it's so dated though.
You two are men of taste.
No, that's why we're laughing, is because it's so dated. I mean, here's the thing though. It's so dated that it's actually coming back. It's almost it's retro.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow. Joe's about to get really excited.
Mine, and I'm very proud to say this, by the way. Mine is Brut, and not only is it Brut, but it's Brut in the glass bottle with the actual chain around the bottle. Do you remember?
Was it an amber bottle?
No, it was green.
No.
It was
and it now now it has the label right that says brew, but it actually used to come with like a chain, like a man's 70s chain around his neck, and so I am yes, I am proud to say that I am staying alive.
That is so funny. I don't know.
Marlinda said hers was Wild Musk by Cody.
Yes. Yeah, I mean a lot of the pharmacy type fragrances are actually kind of quite nice, right? I mean,
pharmacy type. See, I don't know they're pharmacy type.
Yeah, those are like in a pinch. I'll go.
Why is there even why is there a pharmacy type?
Well, Jovan Musk is one of them, right? The ones that you see at like CVS and Walgreens.
I think I remember having a bottle of like Stetson leather. I think.
Yep.
What is that right?
Yes. Stetson leather it's actually a very good one too. They're cheapies. Like I said, price point will not dictate whether you like it, and of course, but it also won't dictate if it's a crowd pleaser. I mean, there are some really expensive ones out there that are really bad. So I mean, what you really want to make sure that you don't blind buy. You don't just go and impulsively, spontaneously buy something. You want to try to, if you can get a sample, you want to was it Marlene? I didn't catch her name that asked the question. Yeah, like she was asking, it will interact with your skin oftentimes a little bit, and so you want to try to wear it for a day or two before you buy it.
You see that guy?
Sample, and then
is that his chain right there? Is that the chain you're talking about?
Yeah, there it is. Yeah. Oh yes.
That's funny.
Yes. Yes. There it is. Oh man, Brew Fabergé. He's got one on, and then it's around the bottle too, and it wasn't even glued. Like it would rattle. As you. So.
That is so funny.
Yep.
What do you think about Lucky for men?
So I actually I haven't reviewed Lucky for men. I've actually taken a look at on the women's side, but I like Lucky. I don't know that there's anything that would make me want to purchase it enough. I mean, I like it, but I don't have any in my collection. I'd certainly like to review one, but I'm not too familiar with it. Other than I've smelled it a few times and thought it was good, but I didn't. Right. I wasn't moved to buy it. Yeah.
So
one blast, two blast.
What flavor or what season was that one? Would that one be?
Well, Lucky's what's that?
No.
What did you say, Sen?
Lucky's a company. Yeah, exactly right. Yeah, probably spring. But, yeah. Or the other answer would be if it's a real crowd pleaser, it's designed to be worn any time of the year. See, it sounds like a commercial, doesn't it?
Comes that thing.
That radio voice going right now.
I know.
Quick to the countdown.
Exactly.
So I think what we should do is like before we let him sign off, he has to give us his top 5. And
yes.
And so that way we can be like, all right, these are the top 5. And for me, I don't care if they're men or women, just like your top 5 scents.
Yeah.
And that way we can kind of be be like,
okay. Do you mean rose based or just top 5? Just all time?
I would say all time. Just all time.
Yeah. And then you know what? It'll give you the starting point you need to make one of your videos in the future. You can be like, oh, let me do a video off of those topics.
Right.
Right. Okay. All right. So, number 1 is the king. Number 1 is Aqua di Gio.
Oh yeah, we gotta get that one. Yeah.
Number 1 is definitely Aqua di Gio, and I love that one. Another one is which is actually a eucalyptus prominent note, which is pretty rare, but is Body Koros, and I really really like that one a lot. I've been wearing it a lot lately.
Give us a price point with each one too, so we can be like
Okay, so that's designer. So the 3.4 ounce 100 milliliter bottle of Aqua di Gio will be anywhere from 50. You can get them on discounters, but let's say 50 to 75.
Okay.
Body Koros, you can find also discounters, so that one would be probably 40 to 60.
Okay.
And that's by Yves Saint Laurent. And then you can get, you're asking, so a newer one would be Encre Noire by Lalique. And that one actually you can get for as cheap as $25. That one's actually really a hidden gem for the winter time. Yeah. And it's a very, very dark. I mean, it means black.
The winter ones and carrying my cologne now.
That's right. And I have to say, it doesn't last a long time, but Eternity Aqua is by Calvin Klein is one that, for the summertime, I really, really appreciate that one. How I wish it would just last a little longer, but you can get that one for $40 to $55, and then you can get a body spray of it for $10. So that's, that's really nice. And then let me just throw in one cheapie. It's usually my honorable mention, but I'm going to throw it in as a cheapie because since we're talking price point, Halston Z14 actually. Speaking of the 70s and Brute, Halston Z14 is as cheap as you can get it for as cheap sometimes as like $8, $9, $10.
Oh wow!
Yeah, and it's like Christmas tree in a bottle. So
that's what I was saying. So that's some good. So for when you need to do a white elephant, there you go.
Right. No, and that's why I mentioned it because it's a very, very nice one for ultra cheap and there you have it. There's 5 on the women's side. I would definitely mention. I don't know if I mentioned 5 off the bat, but I would mention at least the 2. One would be Chanel Chance, is really, really nice. Big fan of that one, and that one is about 80 to 95. And the other one I really, really enjoy is Narciso Rodriguez for women. That one's it's in a pink bottle. That's really, really nice. And that would be for somebody who just wants to wear it kind of anytime, anywhere. And that one's about 100.
Rodriguez.
Yes.
Shout out, relative.
Really? Okay. And that one's about $120. A little expensive, but certainly worth it.
That is awesome. So I have one final question.
Okay.
That I've kind of heard. So I hear that you cannot trademark scents, and so or you can't like copyright those scents. Is that correct? And then like these knockoff perfume places and stuff like that, that's the reason that they can sell those, because you can't copyright or trademark a scent?
Well, yes and no. So one thing that if you notice, so one issue is that companies are allowed to say fragrance. They are allowed to list as an ingredient fragrance. They don't have to come clean on this. They don't have to, if they don't want to, on the specific notes that are used, whether they be natural or synthetic, by the way.
Right.
Yeah. And so what the cheapies do is the imitations, the knockoffs, they will come in and they will take the prominent notes out of these successful ones, and they will sell them cheap. So see how they do that, and that's why the companies that have a lot of bestsellers, they will, if you look on the bottle or on the box, it will say ingredients and it will list fragrance, and that's one of the reasons why is because they don't want to, it's kind of like the DJs who don't want to show their playlist, right?
Right.
Or the photographers that don't like share their what are they called, Joe?
Nothing
presets.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah. You have to watermark everything. I don't know. It's a little bit out of my area, but you get my point.
Right.
And so that's why they do that. Yeah. I mean, for people who are just starting out, the imitations are great, right? I mean, they're good to start with, and they do smell. They're affordable, and they really do smell like the big brands. I mean, a lot of it is marketing. That said, though, there's a slight difference. It'll after a little while, it'll be time to graduate and move up to designers and then niche. So call me back when you buy your first bottle of Amouage.
Yeah, we'll call you. You don't call us.
Right.
So I hate to let you go, Ben, but we gotta go to sleep at some point. So
no problem.
Honestly,
so awesome.
It really has.
It was really, really nice to meet you guys, and for Joe and Sandy that have never even met me, you've been very kind to me. I really appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
You're just blowing my mind. Thank you so much for doing that for us.
Educated me beyond what I didn't even know that I was getting educated tonight. I thought we were.
You know what? You will think of this episode the next time you're walking through the department store,
sure right.
or actually more likely online when you're online looking through colognes, going, I think I'm going to get that one.
Right? Yeah, absolutely. I'm gonna rewatch it too before I go. I was like,
Yeah,
I
there you
know.
go.
I gotta make sure I got it, most of the spelling correct.
Let me know if you want me to send you any links or any,
Okay.
spelling, or you have any more questions for me.
so let's plug your channel
Awesome.
one more time. Other than the link, is there an easy way to find you? It's youtube.com. Is there like just a simple name for your channel?
Correct. There is. It's That Cologne Guy. So it's just youtube.com / That Cologne Guy.
Okay.
Okay.
Awesome.
Putting it down
Yeah,
there.
no underscores or anything. Just That Cologne Guy, and that will take you to me. And yeah, I look forward to seeing you guys. And thanks again.
You got
Thanks
a
so
new
much,
subscriber.
Ben.
I'm subscribing.
You bet.
Ben, thank you so much.
Have a wonderful night. Please stay safe and healthy. Thank you.
You
No
too.
problem.
Thanks, Ben.
And we'll talk to you later. All right. Have a
All
good
right,
night.
sounds good. You too.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Wow.
I'm serious. I'm not even kidding you. That was amazing. Jamie, you did so good.
I
mean, what a
that-
good friend.
I'm sitting here just like my mind is just blowing away right now. I was like, whoa, this guy knew a lot.
Yeah.
And you know what's funny is I've seen him around. We've hung out. He's been to my house before. He celebrated birthdays with me and stuff. Our kids used to dance together. That's how I first met him. I just never knew. I didn't know this. And I'm like, how have I not been tapping into this guy's wealth of knowledge?
Yeah.
What in the world?
Oh, we forgot to look what
The
Rain was.
theme. We didn't ask him
We
a
didn't ask him
theme.
what his theme was.
Way to
Oh.
go, Rain.
And he
Why
said
did
he
you wait
had one.
so long?
You know what? Hold on. I'm gonna message him real quick on here.
Okay, do it.
Just so
Yeah,
we can say it on
Because we
air.
were so excited about what we learned
I'm
that
telling you,
we
he's
forgot about the format of
amazing.
the show. Like, Ben, we've talked to you for the whole hour. We got to go.
And I told him, I was like, it'll be 15, 30 minutes and we'll go, whatever. But I was like, I can't let him go. This is
I have so many. I still have questions.
yeah. I said, I want to do a number two, a follow up with him and be
Later
like,
in the future, just and that way we'll be a lot more informed. And then, man, that's
There
crazy.
there was so much, man. I hope all of you watch and were just as floored as we were and as interested. Like, I really feel like I just watched like a documentary, on something that
Like
I
a
didn't.
good one. A good
Yeah,
documentary.
right?
Yeah, a good documentary.
What's the topic today?
Today's topic was cologne,
It was inspired by roses.
inspired by Rose.
So, wow, yeah.
I'll invite you back here.
He probably might be gone already. So anyway, but I'll yeah,
We'll find out
I'll
what-
post what it is.
Yeah, we'll post what it is and let you guys know. But so we had some things lined up for today's show, but our guest was just so awesome, and that's kind of why we like doing this. We don't really have a standard format for our show, and I think if the guest is good, we're going to keep them on. So
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly for sure. That was amazing.
right.
Yeah, it was.
So what was your biggest takeaway, Sandy, from the?
Well, I do. Okay, 'cause seriously, that's always been one of my things because I I love the smells, but the headache for me. So yeah, I'll definitely, just try dabbing,
Mhm.
one, sample it, see how it makes me feel. And then, buy it later, like he said, instead of buying it and then you just sits there. Cause that's happened in the past. I just buy stuff and it gives me a headache. So I just leave it there. So
That was one of the reasons why I stopped wearing any kind of fragrances also, because Dakisa just has super sensitive senses. Like that woman can hear, smell. I mean, I'm just like, what? And she'll smell something and then be like 2 days later the air conditioner's out and I'm like, how did you what? Doesn't make any sense. But there's stuff like that, guys. I'm not kidding. She picks it out and I'm just like, what? So I had to stop wearing it when I got married. or even when I started dating Dakisa, I was just like, okay. It's gone. It's fine, and I've been without it for freaking 15 years now.
So you've been saving a lot of money.
One dab, because you can do like one dab.
I don't even do. So I when I was wearing Curve, I was going down to a dab, and she was like, "What?"
Oh, you should have asked him about Curve. See how he felt about that.
I told him, but we didn't talk about. Yeah, I mean, that was ages ago. You guys had more, out of it, more practical use out of it. That's what I see.
Yeah, like I said, I had no idea that there were the cologne or perfumes or scents were seasonal.
Right, exactly.
That just
But it
blew
makes sense,
my mind.
right? It makes sense. But you're like, I just never connected it. I never really.
Right.
Well, because you don't have that education. They don't teach you that at school.
Yeah.
Well,
Like this one
and
goes with winter.
we didn't even. And that's the thing. We didn't even get to talk about what Ben does. Like, that's what he does. Fun, whatever. We got to hear a little bit about it. He told us he was a teacher. He told us he was grading papers, and this was a long day. But he's got his PhD in Spanish, I think is what it is. He's a doctor, actually.
Wow.
He's
Really?
freaking doctor. Yeah, he teaches at the local college here in Bloomington or Normal, ISU, Illinois State University.
Wow.
So when he was talking about that, I mean, the man has taken sabbatical. He's gone to Mexico to learn more and write papers, and I mean, the guy's
Look at
got
what
accolades.
Marlinda just said, guys. Did y'all see her comment?
She just posted it up.
Let's just go to Grace Franson.
Grace France. And tour one of their perfumeries. Her mind was blown then and even more tonight. Oh, so
That's so cool.
yeah. So you
And
enjoyed
Marlinda, thank you so much for
Probably more than
engaging
we
and
did.
asking questions.
She has no
Yeah.
background on it.
And what show? Yeah, we're both talking at the same time. None of us could understand.
I said that she enjoyed the show a lot more because she had background on the actual scent world, and then just to get more information. So that just is amazing.
If you guys, when you watch this, guys, and you'd like to have Ben come back on sometime in the near future to hear more or whatever else, please comment and let us know, because I'm feeling it. I think Joe and Sandy are feeling it, and if you guys are too, then we totally want him to come back on. It was
right.
yeah, because I still want to know like more of the backstory. Like I want to know more of like what I know we got a little bit, but just how practically this all worked out. What was going on with his wife when she was like, oh, you like scents, and was he suggest to her? He goes, darling, that's a really good smell, but look, I got this one for you instead. I think this might really,
and it's got an apple freshness to it.
Right.
Yeah. I don't want to smell like apples. Okay.
Right, exactly.
I mean, I want to, but people around you be like, Sandy,
Right.
yeah. We'll take your idea. Forget on consideration. We'll do it. What else you got?
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are 4 minutes over because of the awesome time that we had tonight with our guests. So we hope that you enjoyed it. And because if you could see the smiles on our faces, it was
I know. I'm like, my face is hurting.
My eyes watering because her cheeks are so
be sure to visit his YouTube channel. It's youtube.com, the Cologne Guy.
The Cologne Guy.
Cologne Guy.
Yeah, That Cologne Guy. So make sure you
I'm looking at his page, so I'm like,
we'll be back tomorrow. We're going to figure out what our next topic is because we were so excited we didn't get it from Ben, but we'll bring that in and we'll make a post about it. So be sure you give us a follow or give us a view tomorrow. So, Sandy,
wash your hands
for 20 seconds.
You filthy animals.
Good night.
Have a good night.
Have a good night. Thank you.
Bye.